Hello everyone, I am Shlok, head boy of Shantiniketan International School.
Hi everyone, my name is Dishanjali Banka. I'm the head girl of the school.
Amidst us, we have our principal, Dr. Smita. Welcome to our first podcast.
A little about Mom. Mom is a visionary educator with over 2 decades of experience in primary and secondary education across ICSE, CBSE, and IB schools in India and abroad.
Today's topic for our podcast is discipline with dignity. How much is just enough? So, Ma, what does discipline with dignity mean to you?
Well, for me, a discipline with dignity means creating a safe and respectful environment where learning can flourish. So it's not about punishment, it's about making students take thoughtful choices, helping them understand that their actions has an impact on themselves and on others. So what I feel, when discipline is rooted in values, it becomes a tool for growth, not for control.
Mom, when do you know when it's better to strictly follow a rule and when it's better to be flexible with it?
Yeah, so what I do is I ask myself that question. Is this rule helping students to feel safe, respected and accountable? If yes, it stays. And if it is like the situation demands empathy, then I need for flexibility. Let's say a child is struggling between maintaining academic and sports balance. For me, if the rule is set and if the student feels safe, respected and accountable, then that rule stays. But wherever the flexibility is needed, empathy is needed. Let's say there's a child who's struggling to maintain that balance between academics and social. I prefer flexibility. What I feel again here is discipline should adapt to the context. It should not override the compassion.
So, Ma, what does respectful discipline look like when a student makes a serious mistake?
So, respectful discipline means dealing with a behavior or issue in a firm manner, yet in an empathetic way. So it could be understanding the side of a student, encouraging them to reflect wisely, helping them to amend without shaving. Because again, discipline is not about enforcing rules, it's more about building up that trust.
Mom, what can we do as students to help create a more disciplined environment in school?
Students can lead by examples, treating peers and staff with kindness, speaking up when you see disrespect, owning your action. These small acts of responsibilities goes a long way in molding a strong character.
So, Ma, let's have a rapid fire round to get to know on your views or your thoughts based on discipline.
Okay, Shlo.
One rule you never compromise on.
Respect for self, others and environment.
Technology, friend or foe for discipline?
I think it's a trending question. Depends on its use, I would say.
Mom, what is the biggest myth about discipline in schools?
Biggest myth about discipline in schools is that it kills creativity.
What is the most common discipline challenge today?
Technology distraction.
Now, how do you support students reflecting on their choices without any shame?
So as you are aware, Shlok, what I usually do is I strike that friendly conversation with the students wherein they feel that, they are in a non-judgmental space. They feel that every mistake is an opportunity to grow. And then I ask them 2 questions. One is what happened and how can you make it right? To guide that honest conversation. And after that, it's up to the students how to reflect. Some prefer reflecting through writing, some also come back to me and we had an open conversation.
Mom, if you would redesign discipline from scratch, what would you keep, change and get rid of?
If I get an opportunity to redesign the rules from scratch, I would still keep that emphasis on fairness and consistency, because students thrive when they know the clear expectations and they are applied equally. I would change the language of rules and consequences to agreements and responsibilities, thus shifting the focus from control to ownership.
Ma, what does a discipline-rich yet a joyful school look like?
So, a disciplined, rich yet joyful school would look like where there are daily routines, there are clear set expectations, yet students have choices to decide freely. So, in SNIS, when you step in, you'd find students moving with a purpose, respect those boundaries, yet you'll find them laughing, collaborating, and celebrating their learning.
Mom, has your perspective on discipline evolved over the years? And if it did, what shape that change it?
Yes, 100% it has evolved, especially when it comes to today's generation. What I feel that today's learners value voice, choice, and connection over compliance. They feel connected when they feel that empathy is there and not the authority. Again, if you ask me about what has changed my perspective, experiencing student-led initiatives, some social emotional learning, and some incidents where I had to take some strict action or I had to kind of deal with a disciplinary issue. I guess I have learned it by now that dialogue with dignity creates a long-lasting impact than punishment would ever do.
Ma'am, how do you define enough discipline in your terms?
Well, first of all, there's no such term as enough discipline. So, if I need to design or define it in my words, I would say enough discipline is a point where students are aware what is expected out of them, they know their boundaries, and they move freely by treating everybody with that respect and yet enjoy the learning, I would say, right? So, enough discipline is a living balance that shifts with context, age, and culture.
What's the main role of parents in disciplining children?
So, definitely, parents play as partners with the school. So, they should identify what is enough and what is too much. See, too little discipline will lead to chaos, and too much of discipline would lead to fear or disengagements. So there is something that's called as balanced parenting that a parent should adapt to. So when the parent feels that how do I discipline my child? Let's say there's an incident where a child is constantly on phone, and then how to make that child leave that phone down and go out and play. So I think the one and the best option is exposure to such technology. It should be limited. One. Second, building that essential agreement with the child that yes, if you want the phone, you must also go out there, play for an hour, then you'll get phone for 20 minutes. So, they have to balance the disciplining style.
Do you think that discipline is a base for a timetable?
Yes. Discipline not only for your timetable, but it is overall base for your personality. It will define your personality in the future. So, every moment that is spent correcting a child, it's not for, targeting a child, or it's not for rebuking the child, but it's to help the child to grow in a positive direction. For example, have you seen a gardener, right? The gardener ties a stake or, it ties a young plant straight, right? But it does it gently. Why do you think it ties that plant? So that it grows in a right direction and it doesn't go haywire.
Does discipline only help you in academics or in any other situations or any other parts in life?
So discipline definitely does help you in your academics. Other than that, it also helps you in various aspects of life. For example, if you exercise daily for 30 minutes or 20 minutes, that is going to impact your future. In turn, you'll get a healthy body. If you meditate daily for 10 minutes, again, you'll see the results after few years. So this is the result or outcome of being disciplined or being consistent, right? So if you meditate daily for 10 minutes, you'll see the impact. A little later, you'll have a calmer and clearer mind.
Ma, do you consider your hobbies as discipline, or it's just a time relief or like a free time to do whatever like?
No. So even if it is my hobby, I would still do it with discipline. Because any hobby or any action, any small little action that you take, if it is done with discipline, if it is done with integrity, means even if nobody is watching, you are still doing it right. I think that speaks volumes. So even if it is my hobby, I would still do it with discipline.
So, ma'am, do you think discipline is all about boasting, like showing your strength that I can do this, I am better, I'm stronger? Or is it like your views, like no one's looking at you and you keep on doing whatever you need to do? Like,
Yeah. So that's what Shlok, I would say it's contrary, because discipline is not just about boasting. It's about speaking up even if you have done something wrong, having that gut or having that power, I will say, or having that courage to speak up even if you have done something wrong, right? So speaking up for your own mistakes, owning that mistake, and deciding for yourself, yes, I'm going to take some action to correct my own mistakes.
Mom, how does discipline help you get rid of your bad habits?
In the first place, if you are disciplined, you have a clear-cut timetable, right? So there is no scope or no opportunity for any bad habits like scrolling your phone mindlessly, or just whiling away your time in front of the TV, or kind of just going down and doing nothing, right? So when you have a clear-cut timetable set, that's also part of discipline, right? You definitely not get any time to do extra activities which are really not required at this point of time.
What if you already have like such bad habits, like as you gave like the example of like doom scrolling? How can we prevent that? How can we change that behavior?
So Dikshanjali, you'll have to be really mindful, because again, as I said, that you'll be making a thoughtful choice. So is it right for me is the first question that we can ask yourself. And whenever you get the answer no, definitely it's not worth your time, right? So you need to just drop it down. So every time you reflect, you're doing something wrong, you reflect, you ask this one question to yourself, that is it actually helping me? And if you get the answer no or maybe, then you have to drop it down. It means it's not required.
This maintaining yourself, like hygiene, taking care of yourself like properly, does that also come under discipline?
101%. It comes under discipline, because at the first go, your personality speaks a lot. So when you are working on your physical appearance, it means you are creating that impact already, right? And if you see, when you dress up well and you stand in front of the mirror, you automatically feel that confidence level is going up, all right? So definitely this comes under discipline. When you talk about mental, taking care of your mental well-being, I would say, again, it's very important. When we have access to so much of social media which continuously keep showcasing the negative elements, I think somewhere we all get impacted, right? So it's very important to also maintain that well-being, your mental well-being, by let's say doing that meditation, or kind of just listening to soothing music, sometimes just taking a break and not doing anything and just kind of unwinding yourself. So all these small little things really goes a long way. You just need to identify what practice works best for you, because for you it may work, something would work that may not work for me. So you just have to identify the practice that works to you.
that was deeply insightful, Mark. Discipline, when done with dignity, makes a bridge, not a barrier. Thank you for your leadership and your heart. I really like the way how you taught us that discipline improves us, makes us better in whatever we are doing.
Thank you so much, Mom, for your impactful answers. They completely changed my view on discipline now, as you explained that discipline doesn't always have to be some sort of punishment or a negative consequence, but it can use a self-reflection. And so, and it can also help us to grow. So thank you so much for teaching that valuable lesson.
Thank you, Dikshanjali and Shlok. I myself have personally enjoyed interacting between both of you. And I think the best part of this podcast was having that rapid fire round. Thank you.